Now let's go over some detailed operation of this thing. You know, it's set up, it's running. I'm about to ship it out the door. This is a pump package that controls a pump with a variable frequency drive to drive the motor, control its pressure through frequency. We've got a Micrologic controller with a couple of auxiliary controllers hooked into this Cradlepoint router with a cellular modem, Sprint, where we can monitor this thing remotely. So we talked about the components in here. They're the main guts that comes into and that goes out of. Up here on the top section we've got the input section, input surge suppressor, input wiring, a 120 to 24 volt transformer. This whole package is just 120 volts and it only draws about 2.5 amps when it's running. That it does include the motor because it's only a 1/3 horsepower 3-phase motor. So surge suppression, 120 volts to 24 volts. This guy supplies just the solenoids, AC solenoid valves, 6 of them. Well, 7 total with a input solenoid valve. Couple terminal blocks, ground terminal blocks, DC power supply terminal block for negative side, neutral power for the neutral of the whole unit. Couple of breakers, input breaker, 10 amps, input breaker, 2 amp breaker for the power supply. And we got a breaker over here for the variable frequency drive. This is 10 amp also, although this is the rating of this, it'll trip sooner than this one right here. This is kind of more of an electronics one where this handles inrush current better. Not getting the words right there, but so input section. A lot of this power, this transformer, 24 volts AC, really comes down to this section right here, the output of the Micrologic controller. That red wire right there with the number 2 on it, that's the main feed from this transformer. Goes into all these outputs here, and then actually comes out and goes to these output blocks right here to power solenoids through this terminal strip, which actually goes out to the pump package. Pump package is a separate package with cable assemblies running between them. There's also some solenoids here. 3 more of the 6 total. And so this is another contact terminal block. Then this is actually the inputs from sensors in the pump package. We've got 4 to 20 milliamp input pressure sensor and actually output pressure sensor that measures the output pressure. That actually output pressure is converted to a signal which drives this variable frequency drive. So and it does that. The actual output sensor of pressure is this blue wire, the first one. Actually goes into the Micrologic controller and converts it, and it comes back out this yellow wire here. And that yellow wire actually goes into the VFD, and that's the 4 to 20 milliamp signal into the VFD to tell what frequency the pump will run at to maintain pressure. Then we've got a couple of override toggle switches here. They'll work with these timer assemblies. I'm missing a part here. Here's a timer. So if we flip one of these toggles, switches, 3 of the solenoids will open up, plus the input solenoid valve. And that signal, blue wires, go into the input side over here and says, hey pump package, turn on solenoids, 3 solenoids, and run, and give a signal to this guy to maintain frequency. And the other solenoid turns on the other three solenoids, so all 6 of them will run. And the timing of those solenoids coming on and off in the pump is run through this time delay relay right here. This is a 1 minute to 15 minute time delay relay, and you can have an on cycle and an off cycle for the pumps, or the pump and the solenoids, so you can cycle it. This is a 7 by 24 timer, which actually can program time of day running. So you can run in a certain time period, time of day, and then cycle on off through this. However, you can do the same thing through the microcontroller. You can actually control it through this cellular modem, come back into it, and actually turn it into automatic operation. That automatic operation does the same thing as these. Once you turn on automatic operation through a user interface on a computer, it actually overrides these two, and they are not functioning in there, and then this automatic operation comes. At that point, you could actually turn off those two toggle switches, and it will it'll still run on the automatic operation within that controller. So you got manual and automatic. This is actually a DC power supply from 24 volts AC from this transformer actually to 12 volts DC, because this timer actually only runs on 12 volts DC. So the timer is on all the time. Couple of toggle switches down there. Even if we were to shut off power to this controller, this timer still keeps its time of day. This is a relay that energizes any time that the pump is running, and it actually can do many things where it can be a signal out to say that the pump package is running or not running. It can be a power out for 24 volts AC, 24 volts DC to indicate that the pump is running. So it's just kind of an output relay that you can set into the programming of the controller to give an output signal of some sort. You can set it up as an alarm relay too, but we get alarming through the microcontroller out through the cellular modem. We're monitoring. Well, it's set up to monitor 3 alarms right now. It'll monitor high output pressure. If it goes over a certain pressure that you set it at, it will shut the system down. It will go on high frequency if the motor goes up too high, which would indicate a leak in the system. It would go off on high frequency, and it would go off on low pressure. That's incoming water pressure to the pump package. If it goes too low, where someone shuts off the water supply, we don't want the pump to continue to run. It will shut the system down. It does try to restart itself each time through this timer here or this timer here. So it will try to restart. And if it has an alarm, it'll shut down right away, and it'll wait through its time, try to restart. At this point, there's no programming within this controller that says after 5 restarts, etc., shut it down completely. That could easily be done, but at this point, it'll just continue to try to restart. But when you do get those alarms, they do send an alarm email out through this cellular modem. So you can have email capability on alarms. So there's just a couple of alarms right now. You could program quite a few more alarms in there if you wanted to. Right here is just a 120 volt box for a couple of transformers that actually power a switch here for networking. And then also this Cradlepoint router itself gives it power to do that. So let's run operation here. Let's turn this on here. Actually, we'll shut it back off. If I turn it on, if I have this timer out, it will run all the time. So I'm just going to pull this timer out, turn it on. There goes the variable frequency drive. You can see that it's ramping up, and now it's ramping back down to a degree, and it actually went off on an alarm. So we'll take a look at that here.